Okay, let's see. Let's do a little survey here. And what can we do? Well, we can see that we still have, you can see that collar, okay, right there. That is cuticle. The back of the nail actually wants to be back here. This is where the cuticle started overlapping the nail bed. And I had not realized this until I got very far along, because I could not see this collar really as a separate thing, except from that cuticle line. I could see that cuticle line. To a certain extent, it wants to fold back out, and when you peel it out, you can see the line. But still, this is now differentiated because of all of the stuff that's emptied out of here, and that's making this more prominent. There was so much dead cell material stuffed up here underneath the skin on all of these fingers that I could not see the collar in sharp relief the way I can now. And in certain light, you can see actually that all of this skin is actually dead. So let's see what we got here. This is all breaking back now inside the cuticle line. You see here? And that's all cuticle. What actually wants to happen here, if this is the nail bed, we don't exactly know yet. All of this is really dead skin in front. And all of this here is overlaid cuticle. All of this is cuticle all the way around. That's one piece. The cuticle is like the hem. It runs all the way around. You won't pull it all out if you get a hold of it. You won't pull it all out in one go, but you'll pull fragments out of it. You'll pull here, right here. You'll pick that out of that little crescent there. You see what's going on here is this nail is still too wide. It wants to be here and straight, and over here it wants to be here, back inside. The cuticle is actually, the nail is supposed to be parallel on both sides. And when this is right, and the cuticle stretches all the way back to here, or the nail comes all the way back to here, this will appear straight on the side, and the cuticle won't cut underneath the nail like that. Now we've got the nail trimmed so far back that the cuticle, and this is all dead here in front, this is not living cuticle, but this buildup is now exposed. So let's see, what else can we do here? See, this is all just dead skin. Dead cuticle. I'm not going to try to get into a pig fest. I'm going to try to show you actually what's going on. So let's see. Okay. Just pick that out. And you'll see there's more there. All of this dead cuticle now, it all has to come out. All of this has to be picked out. I'm not going to do it all. You can't. But that's just layer after layer after layer of cuticle. And that comes out and that comes out, and this is all cuticle all the way back to there. And so the nail wants to at least be from there to there. And then a little bit extra, that would be white. There are other, see now this you got the same thing going on here. The nail bed is actually back here. The cuticle is built up. Every time you bit through a cuticle, it made a new cuticle. And they just build up and up and up, and they rack forward. And as they come forward, and these nails form out of this dead cell material, it's supposed to come out every day and make a nice new nail that's stuck to the nail bed. But what happens is it builds up and up and up, and these cuticle builds up forward on the nail bed, and then the nails actually start to rack forward, and they'll be stacked up one on top of the other. All of this crud's coming off now, which is a good thing. And what'll happen is I'll be able to come in here and I'll be able to pick this up and trim it back straight. And when it does, this oval is created by the buildup. Let's see if I can find one here. Well, see, that's flat. You can see that's flat, right? I had one the other day. It's like, this is so deformed now because I picked it out. And this is created like this because of the trash that came out from under here and rode out on the nail material. And it was all pressed and compacted in there. And so when it moved out, this stuff was poorly formed. And like when I take a shower, and I take a hot shower or whatever, it's brown and it's rumply, and it softens up. And then you can just, some of it will just scrub off with a nail brush. You can see this is a side nail that's been formed out over here, probably just to cover where I bit the nail off. And when you look at it, see this is actually starting to collapse now, back down toward the nail bed and back. This isn't. This has still got the wings on it. It's going to want to come off here and there, you know. I have trimmed it back far enough where we're not, it's not sticking out over the dead cuticle. But this nail was racked. If you look at there's like a 13-minute and 28-second video that I took off of my iMac. I took off of the gallery because I had no other way to get to it. But I think it's this nail and this nail. They actually look pretty good, you know. They'll fool you. And they were all, I had a bunch more build up. This actually dropped some, but not much. And on sometimes the nail is just absolutely buried. I've got pictures on my still shots on my in my gallery where this material is actually built up over like that, and this cuticle material then forms up over the nail, and the nail will sheet out over it, make new cover nail, and it will actually cover all of this. It's interleaved. It's bizarre when you get into it. Let's see now. What do I see here? There's one of them that was, where is it? Is that it? One of these is actually, so much has come off, but you can tell that this wants to break back. This wants to be square on the sides. This is a cover nail here. I mean, that's a side piece. That's all stuff that's not supposed to be there. And what happens is this cuticle builds up and up and up, and then the nail starts to spill out. As it forms, it leaks out, and it comes out over this skin. And that's where it gets flattened out. And then this keeps continuing to build up, layer after layer after layer of cuticle, and it wraps and it wraps and it wraps, and it comes forward and forward and forward and forward. It covers more and more and more of the nail bed, and these cover nails form further and further and further. At the same time that that's going on, this is building up here. This is all this dead cuticle here. And so then the nail can ride out and sit on top of the dead cuticle. It's not attached to the nail bed. It's not attached really to anything unless it's attached way back here. This is really disastrous, all of it, and you don't see what's going on. These nails should not be flat. They should be cylindrical. They should come down and over and around and back down. They should not be flattened out like that. And look at that. That's just disastrous. But there may be, the light at the end, the light that we're going toward here is seeing all of this old material sheet off, all of this dead skin come away, and then we'll have a clean new, we'll have the nail bed exposed, and the nail will form in direct contact with the nail bed. and it will look flesh colored or pink. You'll be able to see through it. It'll only be one layer of nail. It won't be this incredible buildup here. You'll see this. Let's see. You see, I'm not picking out living tissue there. It doesn't mean I can't bleed myself if I get a little too exuberant. See, this is the stuff you're going to have to get rid of all of it. All of that, none of that is supposed to be there. It's just dead skin. And in order for you to restore your nails, you're going to have to get rid of all of it. It is not, guys, I don't think it's I don't think it's ciliosis of the nail. And I went on the internet finally and I looked at that stuff, and they've got a dozen different drugs that they will prescribe to you for ciliosis of the nail. And the doctors themselves on the internet will say, well, they don't really work all that good. That's because they've diagnosed the symptom as a disease. This is just, what this is telling you is that you've got a bunch of crud built up on your hands from where you bit your fingernails. And they're calling it ciliosis of the nail. They'll also tell you to use a topical like coconut oil or something, and that, just like putting oil on sunburned skin, it just makes it invisible. But you can see, in the right light, you can see that this is dead skin. You know, it has a funny cast to it. I've got some pictures on the in my gallery that are really incredible. And I don't know why I can't see it right now, but you see, well, on this one, you see that? Can you see how much lower this is back here? All of this was like crammed back up under here. It used to be that when I first started, the skin actually went up from the knuckle like that, and the nail was up here. So as of how much crud was under here. And there was much more cuticle buildup, and it was stuffed up there too. It was standing up real high. The profile on this here is much lower. I mean, that's less than 1/16 of an inch. But before, when I was peeling out cuticle, it would leave a wall like that high. And it would look just like I'd cut down through an avocado to the seed and cut around it. But then the next day, this would just roll back down and fold right back down onto the nail and glue itself right back down to the nail. And that's where your problem's coming from, is that your cuticles have been stuck to the nail. And the nails are locked down, and it's not letting the nail move out properly. It's not letting the nail form properly. And it's bottling up all of this that you see under the skin. This is actually dead cell material that has been backed up under here, underneath my skin, for years, probably. And I'm looking now at these. I got a picture on my phone of a guy I took on the bus, and he's wearing one of those big boots that you can't wear your shoes. Your legs swole up so much that you're wearing this. It's like a cast, and it's got a little rubber bumper on the bottom that you can stand on like a heel, and then his toes, or his bare foot, is sticking out, and his toes look like this. I think it's all the same thing, guys. I really do. I think it's just I don't think that guy ever knew anything about taking care of his toenails. He never had a pedicure. I never did. I never broke my nails loose from the skin, from the cuticle. And so I've got the same thing going on my toes. It's just not as bad because I didn't bite my toenails, okay? So it's not a compounded problem. But my toenails have gotten twice as long just because I've started scrubbing them with a stiff brush. And it's taking this, because there's not this huge amount of buildup here, it's only a few layers, it's actually causing that skin to just come off. It's dead skin, and I'm just scrubbing it off. So my toenails, say maybe used to be just that long, you know, with this same kind of buildup on the front. Now that much is exposed, and my nails are. I've got a big stripe of white across the front, but I could cut it all the way back to here and just expose this big bumper for what it is, dead cuticle skin. Okay, I got the same thing going on my toes. It's just not as bad. And see, see how abbreviated that is. Before, let's say, it would be there. And even if I kept them cut off short, it would just be a very tiny little piece of nail, and it was embedded in all of this. Well, all of this is dead skin, all of it. And my nail actually wants to come all the way back here. The nail bed is all the way. I can feel it. It's back here. And this 2 weeks ago, before I realized what was going on, the skin was all the way here. And this much more of it has been exposed just from me scrubbing away at the dead skin with a stiff brush. Got the same thing going on. Anywhere you've got a red cast around like that, it's a problem. There's not supposed to be any red. That should show you that there's a problem. And when this comes off, guys, this nail is actually, the nail bed is way back here somewhere. And it's like there. And I could trim all of this off, and then you would see that this is just another big rubber bumper out in front. So what wants to happen is I can feel it right there. This is much thinner than here, right? So this actually, the nail bed is actually back here somewhere. And this will all square up. When all of this dead skin comes out, this nail will actually be here. It won't be ovaled like that. Anytime you have a nail that comes out and it's oval, it's because this skin has built up and up and up and up and up, and then the new nail material that comes out is allowed to spill out outside of where it's normally supposed to be. You'll also see these people that have spade-shaped nails that come out like that. That is also wrong. Okay? I'm trying to help you. I know it's hard. It's hard to see and it's hard to understand. But I can cut all this back now. And I'll actually have, before I didn't want to cut my nails too short because they would have been so super abbreviated that it wouldn't look like I had any nail at all. But I can cut this off now and I have more nail. Not here. This has got more problems because I've got this. I actually thought that it was the genetic thing that I had a long toe. Okay, it's all just racked out forward because the line is wrong across there. It's funny, but when this nail is actually going to come back here, this is going to come off here. All of this skin is dead skin. It's going to go away, and then my toes will actually be in a proper line. I have no idea why this one is worse or managed to project out like that and not the others. No clue, really. But I tell you, it's been a trippy thing, sure enough, seeing what's going on here. Well, I'm going to have to do a lot more picking here, but you probably don't want to watch because there's plenty of picking. I've got plenty of picking videos up, I think. And I've got older and older ones. I've been doing this a while. I'm actually starting to, it's incoherent. It's hard for me to explain. But you'll just have to trust somebody. It's going to be me or the doctor, I'm afraid. And I don't think they know because doctors know what they're taught in medical school. And if they're not taught in medical school, they don't know it. And if you come in off the street and you tell him, oh, I think I got something, if he hadn't heard, he's just going to think you're crazy, right? He's going to be looking for some other explanation. He's not going to want to believe you. Anything you say is going to go in one ear and out the other. And he's going to prescribe you Mab or something, and you're going to go out and you're going to use your insurance to buy $100 million or $100 billion worth of drugs that don't actually work, that are supposed to take care of this problem. This problem, I know where I got this. I've seen these nails before when I was 5 years old. You know, when my nails looked really bad like that. My thumb looked like that when I was 7 years old. And I was biting it off, just peeling it off in strips. So that's why I know. As these nails, as these over nails, like you'll have a side nail and a side nail that's formed over here, and they'll be paper thin really, and then a whole nail will come out and cover all of that. So there'll be this part, and this part, and then there'll be another nail that forms out over and covers over the whole thing, and it looks like a right nail, and it's not. And if you go back and you look at those pictures that I took off of that are on the iMac, on the gallery, on the desktop, the very first video that I put up, the nails are big and they'll fool you into thinking they're right, but they're way the hell out here. I mean, they're oval. They come way the hell out here. They stick way out here, you know. And there was more skin on the front of my fingers then. I hadn't started peeling it off. After you get so far, then you'll start peeling it this way too. It's just all dead skin, guys. Don't freak. And the same thing's going on back here. It took me a while to realize that this was bogus just like this is. I was picking this out without realizing that this was just a big flubber bumper and that it's all the same. If you've got this much buildup back here, you've got that much buildup out there, because it goes around and around and around and around like that, and it builds up like that, and it goes out, and this, rather than stacking up, it stacks forward on the, it kind of like it tips over, and it grows out over the nail bed, and then the nail is very much abbreviated, and it is in contact with less and less and less of the nail bed. The nail bed ends here, but it goes back to here, but you've covered this much of it, and the nail doesn't really form until it about comes out into the air. There's something about it that this dead material that moves out, it gets to a certain point, it mixes with some moisture, it makes like a two-part resin, and then when it forms when it hits the air. And I found that out when I dropped oven cleaner on my finger, and a big chunk of dead skin popped out, and there was no nail under it. That's when I started to figure out something was really wrong. Because I thought you look at those pictures of my fingernails, they're too big. But I didn't know that, you know. I thought I've seen people I thought had big, beautiful fingernails. I didn't realize that can be an indicator that you've got problems. So this is not living skin here. This is dead cuticle, and on another day I could pick that out. I'm getting down to it. I used to be able to get a strip of it, and I would pull it out from under there. It's underneath. It's not supposed to be underneath the nail like that. But I would get under there and I would pick it out like that, and then when it was much more durable. And I would be able to pick that out like that, and then take the forceps and just peel it out. And it would peel right up to there, and it would generally break right there. And I would pick it out over here. And so they wouldn't necessarily, sometimes I'd get two fragments over here and one over here. They wouldn't necessarily be part of the same thing. But it's all dead. It's all dead cuticle. And it's all got to come out. For you to fix this problem, for you to get back, you've got to get this stuff out. You see that? And now, like I said, I don't want to turn into a pig fest. It's not a barbecue here. We're not going to pick the pig. But see, that's just a piece of cuticle. And you see that, right? And what would happen is, when this was much more dramatic and the elevation was much more, say it like that much, this would just roll right back over, And tomorrow morning, this edge would be down here, and it would be sticking to the nail. Now that I figured out what's going on, things are happening a little different. And this was just all built up under here, and that's why this nail is flattened out. It gets to a certain point. These nails now have like a little lip on them around. And that's because the center overwash nail has come off, and it's revealing the fact that this is buildup over here. Well, I don't really want to get into all that, to tell you the truth. That's going to be more than I want to do. This is supposed to be a more simple tutorial here, just to show you what's going on. It's very tedious. You'll wind up spending a lot of time doing this. But this is all just junk. And now you can see I can actually get under there and pick that loose and peel that up. If this was real living tissue, I would not be doing that. You know what I mean? I would not be sticking a knife up under there and prying up on it. But I found out that I was able to do it here in the corners, and it would help relieve the pressure, and then I could get some of that accumulated crud out of these corners. It forms, because this overlaps the corner like that, this becomes a tight corner. This is actually supposed to be squared, more square. It's not. It'll have some shape to it. But basically, you look at these girls that have beautiful nails, and their back, it actually comes across pretty straight. And right down on the side, it would come right down there, right? It doesn't, but mine came out like this. You know what I mean? They didn't drop down like that. And this is all accumulated buildup here. And it gets very tight in that corner, and it's very hard to pick out from around there. When you get under there and try to get it out, you'll find out you have a problem back here in this corner. And it's also because that's where you were biting your fingernail, and you were trying to pull the nail out of the nail bed, and you weren't always successful. And guess what? That doesn't go away. That piece of nail flake or whatever that's stuck in the nail bed, it stays there. If you don't get a hold of it with your teeth and pull it out, it's still there. And you're going to uncover dozens of them as you go back through and try to uncover the damage. I know the doctors don't know this, you know. I haven't seen anything remotely similar to what I'm telling you. And I'm so glad I didn't go on the internet first and try to figure it out that way. Because what's actually happening here is I'm reverse engineering this now. But it's not Greek to me, because I'm recognizing, I said, why does this nail look familiar? And it's because I've seen it before that cover nail came out over it and hit it. And I started seeing that because these are paper thin, I didn't get that this was a stack of nails. It's a stack of nails that's built up and up and up and up and up, tiny, but microscopically almost thin. And they'll come off like cellophane. These nail coats, they'll come off like cellophane. And they're just an incredible amount of material built up there, and the skin is building right up with it, right up underneath it, and then finally it flattens out and it starts to flow out. And you get these flattened out nails that turn oval. And so all of this on the side is going to have to go away. This is my morning sun. It's going to ruin me, and I'm going to have to quit. But you can see what that is. And every time you do this, it's going to, the next layer, somehow they don't want to reveal themselves until you pick this layer out. And then once you pick this layer out, then tomorrow the next layer will be drying up. Somehow they pick up moisture or something from the next layer and the next layer. You can't just really just carve it all out the way you would probably like to. But you see that? That's just garbage there on the side. If I wasn't scared, I would reveal the But you see that? See, all of this is just junk. And until it all goes away, that I don't want to expose the nail bed because it would be painful. That's why it made. That's what this is. This is a repair nail. And then once that's there, more material will squeeze out of here, just like you're squeezing out icing out of a pastry bag or something. It squeezes out. It's like a Play-Doh machine. It wants to squeeze out here, and it just flows out, and it makes like a resin coat on top, and it will cover all this stuff up, and it will make one complete nail that's oval, and the oval is going to tell you it's wrong. It wants to be straight on the side. It wants to be cylindrical. This corner wants to be squared up a little more. I've actually pulled out plugs that were triangular shaped. It's possible that this whole chunk would come out like that at some point. And then it would drop down on the sides too. This wants to be down here. All of this is buildup. And so when you see this and it's oval and it comes around here and all of that is buried under skin, that's all wrong. And when you start to pick it out and you see this is actually recedes, and you'll see these people that have nails that look like they're punched down in, the skin is just built up and up and up and up and up and embalmed the nail. And all that junk, this is that they call ciliasis of the nail. It's just dead cell material. You can see it under the skin. There you can see the dead texture, right? In this light, in the morning light, sometimes you'll see it, and it's just like sunburned skin. It just wants to flake. It just wants to be. You think I have dry skin? No, you have dead skin. And you can hide it. You can put a little coconut oil on it, and all that dryness will disappear. But actually, this is your actual dead skin flaking off, and there's another layer because it's all related to all of this. You've stoppered up. All this stuff that's supposed to flow out is getting jammed up behind this accumulation of cuticle. And it's just sitting back, unless your nails are cut loose. And that's what people don't realize. You can push on this with a little wooden stick, and it's still stuck back here. So you're not actually doing anything. The point of that only works if you've been doing it every day your whole life. If you had a mom that knew what was going on and she taught you how to take care of your fingernails from the time you were 5, then you have a clue, maybe. You might not know all how it works, but she don't need to know all that if you just know what you need to do every day and do it every day. It's only when you don't know that, you don't know that this is daily nail maintenance that you've got to do every day, or this skin is going to get stuck to this nail is not going to move anymore, and this dead cell material is going to try to get out any way it can. I've seen nails that were arched up like that, and you could see the white crumbly material under the nail, and it was just channeling out. It was like I said, like a pastry bag, and somebody was squeezing it, and this stuff is coming out underneath the nail between these layers of nail down here, right? And here it'll force a cavity there, and the stuff will just be forcing out between the top nail and the wherever it divides, wherever there's a fault that we split it open, and will allow some of this stuff to be forced. Can you imagine the pressure that's creating in your systems? And what if this stuff is toxic? What if this dead cell material, which is waste, it's not supposed to be there, if this was in your intestines, you'd have what they call it, peritonitis or something. It would kill you in a week, 10 days. It's poison. But this stuff may be more inert, but it still creates a tremendous amount of pressure. And you can see where this is dropped in the back. You see? I'm sorry about the lighting, but there's not really a lot I can do here except go with it. But see, all of this was back up under here. And when it did, it had lifted the skin up, So all of this was much higher. And when this all comes off, see, the nail is going to be down here, and it's going to be straight out. It's going to be down here where this is. You see how much, if you can see it, you see how much lower that is. This is the old stuff that's pushing out now. It's formed some kind of nail. And it's traveling out a little bit. And back here, this is much lower. All of this, when all of this was up under here, the skin level was up here, like that. Sorry, I know you can't see that. It's a shadow, in shadow. But it was like that. It was straight. And before that, it was up. And this was tremendous. But when this was under here, and say that was straight, then the cuticle material was built up on top of that. So it actually came up like that. And then rolled back down to the nail. It's really incredible. When you start to, and you can see this dimpling, that's because all of this is filled with dead cell material too. It's not just back here. It's not just traveling down. This whole thing is a unit, and it's stuffed the tip of your finger. You see these people, and they've got very full fingers, and they're dead white. They don't know what they got. And I had this one, and I showed it on a video, but there was this cavity right here. I mean, the skin wasn't broken or anything, but this was just, it was like there was nothing there underneath. And then more of this loose material moved down and filled it up. But I've had a situation where I could push on this side like that, and the dimple would stay there, right? And it would come over here, and this side would be full, and this is just like a beanbag chair. And you could take it and push it back on the other side, and the dimple would stay there, and the material would stay over here. It's just incredible when you start to figure it out. But because this is under pressure and it's always moving out, the dead cell material is supposed to move out and off. So anywhere you have a situation where you've loosened this up, where a bunch of this crud comes out on your fingernail, like that's why that fingernail looks so bad, is that this crud is up under here and the nail is down below it, and this stuff can sit on there. And it forms these negative impressions. This is just, and even this crud, when you get it broken loose, the crud will travel out on the nail, but it's not really firmed up, so it will wash off. But the part of the nail that has firmed up, it will be irregular like that. I'm just telling you, you need to start paying attention. This is a serious source of disease. See, that nail is not supposed to be flat. It's supposed to be cylindrical. And is this the one? It's actually, it does. It has a rim on it like a mercury dime. You can almost see it. But that's because these the top nails in here have paper thin, have come off in strips, and these side nails are separate. Your nail is actually supposed to not be that wide, so these, it creates a weird thing where as this builds up and then it starts to leak out, this nail, if you could see it revealed, it would actually be wing-shaped, because the nails, as they build up, they get wider and wider and wider to the side. Just like when your nail bed starts to get covered, the nails rack out further and further and further in the front, like this. And it's like, as I've said before, it's like a deck of cards that you set up square and then push forward at an angle. And so you get nail after nail after nail, and each one is incrementally farther out, and it's just sitting on this dead skin here. It's not actually attached to the nail bed. And so less and less and less of the nail is attached to the nail bed because it's not actually forming. But there's a racked out stack of nails underneath the back too, like that. And you can see, now in this light, this is the only thing the morning light is good for, is it reveals this, what I call a nicotinous cast, this yellow-brown cast to the skin. It means all of this skin is actually dead, and you can see it peeling there. I could take that and peel it back. It's like perpetual sunburn. You can take it and just, you peel it off. See? All of that on the front. You can see it in this light. All this light's good for is revealing this. This is all dead. A great amount of this will want to come off. And the front of the nail wants to be, basically, it grows, it's on the nail, it's on the nail bed. The nail is supposed to form on the nail bed. There's only supposed to be one layer. And it's continuous, and it sheets off. And you trim off the excess when it gets out in front of the nail bed. That's why it's white. It's not attached to the nail bed anymore. And it'll get longer and longer and longer, and that will just project out and out and out and out as this stuff forms back here and pushes it out like a conveyor belt. And you're supposed to keep trimming that off. That much is right. But that white, that is supposed to be showing you how far it is from the projection, from the front projection back to the nail bed. But if you get a situation where these nails are forming and they're not attached to anything, you can, I've seen people, I've got a picture of a lady I took on the bus, and she's got a white, it's a white nail, and it's as wide as this blade, okay? And it's from back here to out there, and it's wavy. It's entirely bogus. It's not attached. The reason it's white like that is because it's not attached to nail bed anywhere. And it's not even under enough pressure or well formed enough that it's maintaining contact with this dead skin, which can fool you because you just don't realize that it's not white unless it's actually, loose enough to be have airspace or whatever underneath it. It'll reveal itself. But sometimes if it's mashed down, if your nail is grown all the way out here and it's mashed down on this under pressure, it might not show. It might not look white except right out on the very edge. But you can see in that light, you can see that that's dead. When you get that strong side light, it shows that. So that's what's going on. I still have not gotten my shape back, but I'm starting to get rid of a lot of this accumulated cuticle. I'm starting to be able to scrape this stuff off this way, like this. Yeah, that's all. It's all dead stuff. Okay. That's just dead skin. And it all needs to go away for you to get real nails again. It'll break away. And in the early days, I could take and I could actually get this like this, and it would all look solid. I wouldn't really be able to tell nail from cuticle, and part of that is because it interleaves. If it's the skin will form up here, and then it'll send out a skim coat, and it'll cover over the dead cuticle. It's all dead, you know what I mean? And it's all the same stuff. It's made out of the same stuff. The nail and the dead skin are basically the same. It's dead cell material. So it just depends on what form it's taking. But I've got a picture you can see, and you would say, this is now all of that crud has come off of it, but when the crud was on it, you would say, ciliosis of the nail, that's what that is. But if I scrape this stuff off here, it's just the part nails, and I left it alone, it would get a skim coat nail on it, and this would start to look like a real nail again in fairly short order. So it's just fooling you. I'm not going to dig at that. I don't want to dig at this stuff today. But you see, you get an incredible amount of stuff off of here. But this, that's just a side nail that's filled in there. But what's incredible is that the stuff is, the liquid that comes out is like floor wax or whatever, so it will level all of that. It'll settle in that depression there, and it will smooth all of this out. And it'll fool you. It will fool you. Don't be fooled. You can reverse this damage. And it will, and I think, I think this is hundreds of millions of dollars in drugs and all kinds of treatment and stuff. You go and buy those boots that you put on your feet, and all of it is because they have misdiagnosed this. They've named a disease after the symptom. This is actually a symptom of biting your nails. This shows you what's going on. It's not a disease in and of itself. It's just the result of biting your nails. I'm certain of it. I don't know how that relates to the other stuff, but you want to get it before you have to have your foot amputated, right? You like to unstopper that. Sometimes I see these guys and I say, dude, you need to start scrubbing that shit off your feet, But is there a nice way to say that? I don't know. I'm going to have cards made up that just have, say, severely bitten nails. Go have a look. See if you can get a clue. Clues box. If you haven't got a clue, go to the clues box and get one. So I'm not cutting dead living flesh there. That's coming out on a line, and there'll be another one tomorrow. The next cuticle, very thin. It'll be drying up, and I'll be able to pick it out, just like that. Picking that on the line, day after day after day. I'll see if I can get a hold of it. This is all, by the way, much different. Before, I was not having these rough nails. I was just picking this out. And the cover nails were still intact. And I was just peeling the dead skin out. I thought I was making real progress, Then I realized that the nail might move out, and I thought the whole nail would move out, and that would just be it. I'd get rid of that cruddy nail, and then the nails would start forming right. No, this is stacks and stacks and stacks. Stacks and stacks and stacks of accumulated nail and dead cuticle. And you have to reverse the process, and you have to take it out layer by layer by layer, going back the other way. But it's not coming out now in strips really the way it is. It's more, this is more of a cob job here. It was more satisfying when I could get a hold, pick up the corner, and it would just pull it out. You could see, and you would pop out a piece, and there would be a void under here, and you could see underneath the nail. You start to figure out, hey, that's not attached to anything. And if you've got a nail, and it's white on the side here, I've got some pictures on my desktop like that, and it's white on the side. It just means that the nail is not attached to the nail bed the way it's supposed to be. It's so big and it's so far away from the nail bed that it will show white all the way back to there. Hello, sweetheart. You decide to come... The dog is evicting me. Hey, Sadie. How you doing, honey? I do. I love you, too. Yeah. Yeah, she's just going to come sit on my hand. Now, see, I'm in her spot. This is her morning sun spot. And what do I think I'm doing? Okay, baby. Can I have it for just a minute? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, can I have it for just a second? I'm sorry, baby. I know, she's not, she's really pretty insistent. Uh-huh, I see you. Stop, baby. Stop it. That's a razor blade, baby. Uh-oh. So I just plucked a little too close. But it's not really serious, you know. It's just, it really is dead skin, but it's interleaved. It's always kind of close, and especially now. Before I had so much buildup that I was in no danger of coming near anything that might have a blood vessel in it. But we're making some progress anyway. I love you, sweetie. Okay. Okay. She got rid of mine. She took my forceps. Where'd they go? You got me good, baby. Oh, I know. I know. What are you doing? Put down that stuff and love me. So, this is dead skin forever, guys. That's what you're going to be into. But it pulled out a lot cleaner. When there was a lot more buildup, it pulled out a lot cleaner. It was actually pretty satisfying to see it come out in strips, you know. You thought you were getting somewhere, but it's actually way down the road. Hey, baby. Yes, I know. I know. We'll stop and do something better. I know. Want to go outside, don't you? Want to go outside and sit in the sun? See, now see, that's a layer. I mean, I can pull that right there, and you can start to see that. I just want you to understand these are rows, layers, and layers and layers of cuticle. Dead cuticle. You see that separating on that line. Okay. And this is one, and this is one, and this is one, this is one, this is one, this is one. This might be 50, might be 100, might be 150 of them. How far back does it go? We don't know yet. But wherever it is, wherever this cuticle buildup started, back here, and started covering the nail bed, that's where the nail, when all this comes off, that's where the nail's going to form. And so I'll have, my nails will be the same length, but they'll only come out to here, and then all of this flubber will be gone too. And so I'll have my little, this will be the end of my finger, the nail bed, end of my fingernail, and then there'll just be a little piece of white, a little white crescent on the front. But all of this dead skin, there's just as much buildup on the front because they're all continuous. The cuticle is a one-piece thing, like the hem on your trousers. And so if there's this much, if there's a, you know, there's a half an inch of buildup here, there's a half an inch of buildup here. And what's going to happen is your nails will stay the same length, but they'll just be shifted back. Okay? I know it's hard, but try to believe me. I actually know what I'm doing here. It's not going to be what you hear on the internet, I promise you that. This is a big money-making business. As a matter of fact, what you don't notice, you know, I was walking by a clinic just in one of these strip shopping centers, and I saw this a list of ordinary kind of procedures that they do. Somebody knows something's wrong, because one of the procedures they had listed on this big long list of things that they would do just as an outpatient was nail removal. I don't know what that's about, but I suspect it's some people know they got problems and they don't really know what it is, but they're trying to figure it out. They're trying to get something done. Let's see. That's all this did on the side there. And this is build up here. This is over nail. And it wants to come back square. You see all that wavy. That will all pick off. And eventually I'll find the right spot. You know, the nail will come square. The sides will be parallel. What's freaky is I've taken off so much and it's still ovaled out, which means we haven't even started to chip away at this. This is still very elevated here, and this is going to want to come back. You know, the cylinder is going to look like a cylinder, and the side of the nail is going to be way down here, and this is going to be almost 90, except it's going to have a little curl here in the bottom. And it's not going to start up here and just come out on a sloping angle and stay right up there and embalm the whole nail, which is the way it was before. It's all completely, and it still looked right, but it was only because the skin was overlapping the nail like that. And this is more like what your nails look like, right? And that's just because this top nail is covering, this is a one-piece top nail, a skim coat that's covering stuff that's just basically just like this. It's just this top nail is still intact. But all of this will want to come off. You know, all of the ovaling. Anytime you've got a cuticle that wraps underneath the nail like that and goes under the corner, it's wrong. And that it's not only there, but see that it's supposed to go back to there. All the way back here. And then on this side will be, you know, like that. Oop. Wherever it's supposed to be. It's going to be much thinner. My nail's going to be much thinner. Like that. It's not all of this extra that is ovaled out is going to want to go away, and all of this flubber skin is going to want to go away. And who knows how long, if ever, it'll be before I have real nails again. So, but this looked like a textbook shot. A couple of weeks ago, this looked like a textbook shot of scoliosis of the nail because it was all crumpled. It had a bunch of voids and stuff, rubbery stuff in there, and now it's only got a little bit of this brown rubbery stuff left on here. It would just about pick off like that. And these are, you can see this is divided. This is a part of a top nail. Sorry. This is a part of a top nail over here, and then there's other parts of it over here. Or they could be separate. You know, they could have been, this one was under and this one was over. This could be two different ones. And then what was in here was that brown rubbery stuff that's just scrubbed out. But when it was all there, and you know, you had pieces of nail flaked up over here and a piece of nail flaked up over here, and all of this goobery looking, looked like snot, looked like boogers all over it. It's a sight. It really is. And it'll fool you. You don't know what you're looking at. But you can figure it out. I can help you a little bit if you actually want it. But you might have to do the theater thing and suspend disbelief for a minute until you catch up. You catch up to what's really going on. But you can see that brown. That's just dead skin, guys. And underneath here, there's just tons and tons and tons of dead cell material, waste that the body's been making every day that hasn't been able to get out because the cuticles were glued to the nail. Okay? You don't have to take my word for it. You should, though. Because I've been doing this long enough to know what I'm doing. That's why I keep going. It's not easy. It's tedious. It's not what I want to spend my time doing. But I have a funny feeling that if I get these videos made and I get them up, I can actually help a lot of people. This is where you blow all your money in healthcare. It's stupid stuff like this, and they're just, and the drug companies go and come up with drugs to cure this, and it's just stop biting your fingernails. It's that simple, you know. Don't bite your fingernails and figure out that this is damage, dead skin and dead nail, and there's just a huge accumulation of it. And when you get rid of it, you'll have a chance of forming real nails again. And you won't have to take Humama Gumma Gumabab or whatever it is. concentric or whatever. I actually, when I finally went on the internet, I made a list of all the drugs that they prescribe for this. All the different companies have a drug that they prescribe for this. And the doctors will say, well, it don't do much good, but it's what we prescribe. We'll do something. They show these really pathetic pictures of before and after the drug, and it's not enough difference for you to want to fool with it. What you need to do is get the damage off, get the dead skin and the dead nail off, and eventually you'll be back in a position. It's not going to be fun because every bit of it has to go away, and you're not going to actually. It's just like if you ram your nail, like I did. I rammed my toenail, and the whole toenail came off in a piece. It detached from the nail bit, and then it formed a whole new nail. You're not going to be able to save anything. You're just not. All of that's going to have to go away, and it's going to be replaced with new, fresh nail material. And I have no idea how long it's going to take for this garbage here to empty out and what that process is going to be like. Okay, that's it for today. I hope this helps somebody. I really do. I have other things I'd rather be doing. This is all for you because I could do a lot better for myself if I just sat here and picked dead skin off my hands for an hour, because I'm actually pretty proficient at it. I'm manual anyway. I've actually gotten pretty good at it. But you need to get good at it too. Later.